Hey everybody, I'm Lee Perreira and I'm the Marathon Musician.
And for you as a singer-songwriter, I've been, ever since quitting the band, I have been trying to write, acoustically and maybe think of lyrics. And my writing right now, though, that what calls me to share is the stand-up, the perspective.
I think that's great, though.
I know, man. Everything has its, awesome parts,
Well, it's cool to appreciate different forms of art,
Yeah.
And it's all, whether it's tennis, whether it's stand-up, whether it's music, to see anybody do well at something, there has to be some dedication there,
Yeah.
So it's you can watch other forms of art as an artist, and even if you don't totally dig on what it is, it's not your cup of tea,
Yeah.
you can still appreciate that like that person put in work to
Exactly.
get up there,
Exactly. All right, I'm going to turn up my headphones a little bit. Do you need any more?
I'm good.
Okay, and then I'm going to close that door.
Cool.
Wonderful lattes here at the Sanderson Lincoln of Scottsdale Quarter.
Yes, sir.
I'm joined today by Lee Perreira, a monster in the music scene out here in Arizona and internationally. Tell me you've played internationally, man.
I don't think I have.
Get out of here. Mexico?
No, I've never been to Mexico ever in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's your family from?
I guess some of them are from Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just never been. I never did the Rocky Point thing.
I haven't been to Rocky Point, so.
Yeah. And then I just never went,
Yeah.
I've been playing music in bands since I moved here when I was 15, and then I was in a band within 6 months, and then I was in a band after that, and so my whole life was just about music,
Yeah, it's like when you get bit by that, it's like a vampire, right? Now it's oh, now I'm a vampire. Let's roll. I'm a musician. I played in one band. It's hard to quit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you share, like we were talking earlier. It's to me the most vulnerable art form is singing. In a sense, because I fear my own voice in that sense, and that's your main gig, right? I mean, you're a singer-songwriter.
For sure. And you mentioned it earlier, and I didn't say it then, but I feel compelled to say it now. When I first started singing, my mom, so I probably started playing guitar when I was 12 or 13, wanted to sing as well. The idea was not to be a guitar player, it was to be that thing, And rightfully so. Don't know if I agree with my mom for saying it or how she said it, but she was in the correct as far as it wasn't great performance, but she told me not to sing, because that's how bad I was as a singer.
Oh, okay.
And then even when I got into a band out here in Arizona, I was 17, and I was just the guitar player, but they would back up sing, and I wanted to sing, right? And I would back up sing, and granted, again, I would say that it did not sound good. And the band would be like, "Hey, bro, nah, just you sound great on the guitar.
Yeah.
You sound great." So, for me, and even with guitar, nothing was easy. I didn't pick up either and was just I'm great at this, this is easy and fun.
Oh, okay.
It was
labor.
Yes, on both. And I was a guitar player first, so for a long time, I get compliments on the guitar. And then at a certain point, people started complimenting my voice, and I remember it was weird at first.
Yeah.
Because I got anti-comments vocally for so long, and then I finally started doing it for real, And I mean, I wasn't great.
Yeah.
Like, like sometimes you put on like Apple Music, and like through the years, at least for me, like when I went from CDs to stuff, like I downloaded so much music,
Yep.
So I haven't. So sometimes I put on like just random, and randomly like a recording of me in a trio singing, like the first song I ever wrote for me to sing. I must have been like 18 or 19. I saved it so I could pull it back anytime, because I was just like, this is so bad.
Yeah.
This is so bad. And like, sometimes you feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
But in this moment, I felt proud. I was like, dang, bro, like, But I remember back then being like, I'm the one, bro. I'm like, how you don't believe, And then you listen back, you're like, oh man, okay.
That's why they didn't believe. That's why my mom was being brutally honest with me. Parents will do that, man.
Yeah.
They'll do that. They'll know how to just like dig it. Well, what a little bit in her. I mean, was it to kind of maybe, push you? What side was she coming on? Because some parents will do that, where they're like, they'll hold back like the affirmation compliments, so you have like some burning fire inside of you, and it's like, is that good or bad?
I mean, like, I'm super transparent with my life. So like, my mom was at the time an active alcoholic, so it wasn't there was no like master plan. She was just being like, bro, your voice sounds awful, you should probably stick to guitar.
You're killing my buzz, Lee.
Yeah. And I love to say that now she's over 8 years sober, and
congratulations.
Inspiration, and have the best relationship with my mom.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That is an inspiration when somebody can. It's equally both. I was thinking about that the other day when it comes to fitness. Like, we admire like the people that are just like in great, incredible physique, and we think that maybe they were always that way. And if they were, it's like, hats off to you for maintaining that discipline. But also, like, hats off to the person that lost all that weight, right? Because they're equally as hard. It's hard to stay the path and true and still be fit. And people think that, well, you have it easy because it's always been like that. And it's like, no, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, if someone were to lose, 100, 200 pounds, like, that dedication is on the same level. They're both respected and revered in my eyes. So, congrats on your mom for 8 years, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, and she's 70, so like I like to think of it as like she was 62 when she changed.
Yeah, so it's never too late.
Yeah, and like, now she's grandma. She lives in North Carolina, and my sister who has 2 kids, and and she's just like tatted up rock and roll woman from Long Beach, California. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with like Aquanet and spandex, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so just to see, now she's living in like white suburban, bless your heart, North Carolina. You know what I mean? And my mom's there. But and yeah, it's just crazy how life.
The seasons that we all go through.
Yeah.
And what we fail to realize too is that for a lot of us, our parents were growing when they were raising us.
That's been a conversation that has been coming up lately, like in my life, which is kind of like that. And I actually I'm like speaking it like into my existence of thinking, as like right now we're talking as well. So like, I don't know how many people like really talk about this, but like, at what point does the child become the leader? Right? Because at some point, like, I haven't been blessed to have kids yet, but I would think that, and I would hope that I would want them to be like, version 2.0 of me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I grew up with an alcoholic mom, a dad that wasn't present, like all these things, right? That like I had to overcome and still overcoming by having to do daily work and different things and go to therapy. And so like, but say like I have a child, like I would want them to be better than me. At what point, right, does like that better version of you grow up, mature, become an adult, and actually become, like the leader of of the family.
Yeah, at what point, right? That's weird because I feel like I'm there right now.
Yeah,
For me,
man.
my dad passed away 4 years ago.
Wow.
My mom, I moved her in with us. Like, she's been on disability, and I have 2 young kids, and it's like, yeah, that's scary, man. It's scary when you look around.
You're the pillar now.
Wow, dude. And this is the first time like I'm actually saying it, but you bringing it up, it's like, yeah, I'm having that realization that it is me, and it's like, God damn, I'm not doing as good of a job as I could or I should, and that's maybe, you know, an internal voice telling me that, you know, I'm just not going to be good enough for that. But I think we need to provide ourselves enough grace to be like, yo, man, you're going to learn on the job, and you're going to fail a lot. But
yeah, man,
you're going to be able to pass that down. You know, I'll learn from my failures. Because that's what I tell my son all the time. He's so competitive. He's so obsessed with being the strongest, the fastest. I want to be done with something, to the point where he almost lacks the ability to try something new because he might not be good at it, and he doesn't want to fail, right? But I tell him, buddy, I was like, you're going to be stronger, smarter, more successful, financially stable than me if I do my job right, per se. And I mean, there's no telling how personalities are, because
for sure. And then they have to do their job right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think we need to allow them the kindness to letting them fail on their own, because that's how they're going to learn, you know, and it's going to stick. Because I can tell them all day long why they don't want to do something. Don't touch the stove because it's hot. We all touched the stove, man. We all did. I got to know, what am I dealing with? Boom. Oh, yeah, I'll never do that again. You know?
Yep.
Unless they pay me money. You're
like, that one, Dad was right. I'll let Dad know he was right on that one.
Yeah, man. So, so your mom's 70 now, right?
Yeah, 70.
Okay. So she had you about half of her life ago, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm 41.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I live with her. Basically, it's like my mom, my stepdad, and my sister was California. My dad, my stepmom, and my brother was Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And then,
so Lakers are sons, man. Lakers are sons.
Sons.
All right.
Sons. So I grew up kind of without my dad, and then at 12, my dad came back in my life, and like I visited him. So I came to Arizona during the summer when I was 12. I did that for a few years in a row, and then when I was 15, my mom kicked me out, and so then I moved out here to live with my dad. But I never really I'm about California, but I also was like a kid. So like the only thing I did in California was like avoid getting beat up and jumped. And, you know, I grew up in Long Beach. It wasn't like great. I was chased home, and I was jumped before and shit like that. But, so Long Beach wasn't that great. And all I did was just like skateboard and, you know.
Do you still skateboard?
No.
Those are wild people, man.
Bro, it hurts, bro. It hurts. Yeah, I skated until I got serious about guitar. And then I sold everything that had to do with skateboard and invested in like guitar pedals and, you know, was just like, yeah, let's do this, you know?
Went from trying to be Tony Hawk to wanting to be Slash.
To Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow, what a force he was when he came on the scene.
Yeah.
Just completely killed hair metal, 80s style.
Yeah.
And was just like, whoa, what is this?
Authentic, you know?
Authentic.
And it was a perfect storm, you know? It was a perfect storm. I mean, like, I really do think it's like everything, you know what I mean? I think that's when Butch Vig did the recording. I mean, Dave Grohl's such a huge player in that field too, you know, what he did on the drums. And you hear him break it down and talk about it. It's like a bunch of old like disco pop beats, like, you know, and you hear him talk about it and break it down, and then you hear them play like the beat that, like, I mean, he took like note for note, like drum intros and like stuff like that, you know, and it's pretty wild, you know, and like it works, you know. So it was such an interesting, perfect collection of like things that came together for like that to explode, you know.
It's beautiful when that happens, because you realize, like, when you're part of team of anything, a team, it is really hard for everybody to come together with the common goal, man.
Bro, so I was in so when I came out here, and then I was in a band through a guy I met in high school. We were called the Muska Ninjas.
Muska Ninjas.
We played some bowling alleys.
You got pictures of the outfits, man? You got it.
No, I don't. But we did some original stuff. I just played guitar. I didn't sing. We did like some Black Sabbath covers. And,
Nice.
and then I joined this band called Heavy Manor, and then I still wasn't the singer. But these cats were like all older than me. I was like 19. They're all like 25, 26.
Gotcha.
And then when that band split, then basically like the singer left, and then we didn't do anything for a while. And then I came back with this like song. I was like, I can sing. I can do it.
Yeah.
Here's this song. And like I sang it. It's kind of like a lick on the guitar, and I just sang the lick.
Okay.
You know, like I made my melody like right off of that. And then from there we were a band for like almost 10 years, you know.
Dang.
And then like things like change, you know, especially for that long. Like we added a keyboard player. We had really great times. We did some like regional touring, and but you know, there's relationships, right? And people want to do different things. They say they want to do this. They say they want to do that, and things started to like fall apart. You know, I like this before I was like a working musician too. You know, we all had like jobs, and it's like I remember the first time I got a $400 band gig. I was like, bro, guys, we are cooking,
making
bro.
it rain.
We got to play 4 hours, but we each make $100. And like the one guy was like, I might be going to the fair with my girl that weekend. I'm like, you might be going to the fair? Why don't you go on the other weekend day?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And so then that was like the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And
girls. No, I was messing.
But I remember, I don't even know who this guy's name anymore. But as that band was breaking up, and like we're all going our own ways, and that's kind of around the time that I started playing music for a living too. This guy was like, "You'll never be in a band again," and I was just like, "That's messed up, bro. Why would you say that?" You know? And he's just like, "No, man, I'm not saying you won't have a band." He's like, "You'll have a band, but you'll never be in a band."
Yeah.
And what you said is like navigating like people's emotions and their lives and you know, all that stuff. Like I'm super blessed that like I get to hire the musicians I get to hire. You know, through the time I've met the ones that are like my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool that like I get to hire them, but like I also don't have to. It's not like we practice every Tuesday, you know, and John's always fucking late, you know, or like, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's been interesting. But at the same time, I'm really grateful for those times. I mean, you know, we had the band house, like, you know, we all lived together. It was debauchery.
Yes.
It's just, you know.
As it should be. Your 20s should be wild, man.
Yeah. You know, jumping off the roof and swimming and parties and neighbors yelling at us.
Yeah.
It was a wild time on Bethany Home Road.
Hey, still, there's signs out there that say, "No Lee Perreira, welcome back."
Bro. we so the city ordinance, right, was like, it's been 10 o'clock. So we'd rehearse 3 nights a week. You know, a freaking rock and roll band rehearsing in the living room. And we had one neighbor that freaking hated us. Well, at least one neighbor who vocally let us know that he hated us. And one time, we in the back, we play ping pong. And so one time we were wrapping up practice, and during practice we heard some like noise and stuff, you know. And we're like, what's going on, you know? I'm like, I don't know. And so when we went out back to go play ping pong, what we heard is the guy neighbor was throwing like glass and like all kind of like ceramic. I don't know, like all this stuff was broken like all over our back like patio, you know. And we go out there and we're like, what? And about the time where we're like, what's going on? Oh my God, you know. This guy pops over his head, you know, And he's like, pinche pendejo, every night, these mother pinche mama, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you can't be like, we get it, but like knock on the door, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
nobody ever said anything, so sometimes we go a little late, you
Yeah.
know?
Until
But,
you say something.
Yeah. But what's funny too is like his young teenaged son
Yeah.
like popped his head on over the fence too, you know? And he's just like, my dad's saying if you guys could please, you know, keep it down. But it's funny, I'm like, well, that ain't what your dad. Your dad is like, you mother ever,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
And then the son is like, my dad's asking if you guys could please, politely,
What he's trying to say
is turn it down just a little bit, maybe stop at 10 o'clock, or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And but it was a moment in time for sure.
So do you think he broke his own belongings, or did he go to Goodwill and he's like, I'm gonna buy shit, I'm gonna buy ammo to throw at the house?
Premeditated.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. If he did that, that's hilarious. Yeah.
I don't know which one's crazy. I'm gonna break all my stuff.
But
Or-
like we even when we were quiet, we're still loud because like
Yeah.
after practice we go out in the backyard and play ping pong.
Yeah.
And we had wild
Laughing,
tournaments. Yeah.
chatting. Yeah, man.
You know,
Get
you
competitive.
get the 3-pack of the tall boys. You know.
I get you.
Yeah.
I definitely get you. I think the guy that told you that you'll never be in a band again. What wisdom? Because you had played in this band for what, 10 years?
Yeah, I believe it was like almost 10 years. It was more than 9 years. It was like
So
almost 10
you
years.
had essentially an expert level education on being in a band, and so he knew that you would recognize just that the dynamics aren't there for you, and that you have maybe grown into your voice and your own songwriting, where it's like you're gonna have a band, but you're not gonna be in a band.
Yeah, it was interesting because like I haven't even thought about it in a long time, but like for so long there's like friendship and like, you know, you just like along and doing whatever, you know. But as like there started to become friction, girls, you know, then it was like, nah, I don't like that song, Lee, you know, or whatever, you know. And the first song I ever recorded and single I ever released like on my own was called Running from the Rose. And I remember that was like a song that like I played for them and they were like, nah, man, not feeling it, you know.
Really?
And I was just like, all right, you know, like, and I remember like that was like the first time, you know, like not every song you bring to the band room ends up like flushing out into a full-fledged song that ends up making it in the set list and you actually gig out.
Yeah.
But like for like it to not even be like a thing in the sense of like we didn't even really hash out. It was like a one night, you know, like, and I had like I called it a box. So I get really excited when I have a new song and I have a box, and all a box means is if I have a verse progression and a verse melody and a chorus progression and a chorus melody, so that way like I have this thing, you know. I have about that. As soon as I have that, like I'll play that out at a solo gig, I'll play that out wherever. Like I've played songs with musicians who never even heard it, like if it's like a simple chord change, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'll call it out right now, and some of my guys will be like, it's like, dang, I hadn't heard this one before. What's it? What? I'm like, I just wrote it. They're like, when? I'm like, today, like this afternoon. They're like, what? You know, like, and I find magic in that, you know, like, there's a song called Hot, and there's this like super swanky resort called Sanctuary Resort. I don't think they have music anymore, I'm not sure, but at a time they did. I'd do a trio there, you know, drums, bass, whatever. It's like light trio, right? We're not like crushing it or nothing.
Yeah.
But I play this original funky thing, right? And Dylan Paul Thomas, you know Dylan, right?
I think so. Dylan Paul
Thomas, bass. He's my bass player. His long hair.
Yeah.
But you know, he just comes in like off the top of with this crazy bass line that I'm just like, what is that, bro?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So like sometimes there's like magic, and now like when we recorded that song, like it's like, bro, like even if I went and did session work in like Tennessee or something, I'd still either he'd have to come with me or lay it down out here, like, you know what I mean? There's like magic that happens when when there's no rules. You know what I mean? You're just like, I'll just throw this thing out there and see what happens.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the stage, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, as much as you're going to be up there and be a polished act, there needs to be moments where you allow magic to happen. I mean, artists will talk about it all the time where it's, you know, the ether. Like, I was just the vessel that this thing chose to come out of.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't going to be me, it was going to be the next person that was ready to take this. That's the crazy part you have to kind of wrap your mind around, which I think allows people that aren't familiar with that phenomena to not be able to separate the art from the artist. And we have trouble with ideologies a lot, because it's like, well, if they think that, then this is, and it's like, well, can you let the art stand on its own? Just like anybody that does any sort of political type of thing or criticizes a certain ideology, and it's like, allow for the art to kind of sit on its own, and then judge the individual for their separate acts.
Yeah.
Because when you hear so many people talk about, I don't even know where this came from, it was just like flowing in through me. It was I wrote the song in 2 minutes, I don't know how, you know, stuff like that happens. And it's like, at the end of the day, most of art and most of significant art, I don't think you can really explain, or even, I don't know, like when somebody asks you, what's the meaning of that song? Do you feel the need to explain it every time? Or do you like, well, what did it mean for you?
I prefer not to explain it.
Right?
Also, because I don't have the best memory. And like, I feel like who I was then is not who I am now.
Oh my God,
yes.
yes.
And what I meant then may mean something different to me now.
That is so right, man.
So like sometimes I listen to old songs and they're like reminders, you know? But like, I also think it's just my personal preference. So like, if you ask, like, I have like a friend, I have a friend.
Every time you release something new, they're like, you got to tell me.
No, but he's that guy though. Yeah. Like, you know, he's the guy that like you're listening to a song, and he's like, you know what that song's about? You know, gotcha. And I get the like curiosity, to like understand the story or where it came from, or if it's like a historical significant thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's cool. I guess I'm more of like I gather experiences.
Yeah.
And some people focus more on gathering knowledge.
Oh my God, dude.
And and I also I find the path through experience to be quicker. Because I'm super impatient. So like, if there's something that I have to research, you know, like I might Google like a couple things, but my brain is just like, bro, like, if I ask this question, it's going to tell me this. I ask this question, it's going to tell me that. It's going to be negative stuff. There's some positive stuff. Like, what do I even believe? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's crazy shit. It's like, I just kind of gather, like, a little bit of information so I don't kill myself. Right? And then just go experience life and learn lessons through, like, experience. I get bogged down when it comes to knowledge. Now, other people I know, like my fiance, like, bro, she is a book reading crazy person in the best possible way, you know, and she does amazing thing with the knowledge. I think for me, it's been important to recognize how I take information in. Now I should challenge myself to read more, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I listen to a lot of inspirational YouTube videos. I love listening to stuff, you know, and I'm able to take in a lot of information that way. For sure. I think everybody's different, you know.
They are, and I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I still like to read, even though like I know like it's gonna take me 3 times as long to read than if I had the audiobook. But I ain't gonna lie, man, there's something nice about walking around with the book and how people look at you when you're reading a book that I like. I'm not gonna lie, man. It's a little bit of vanity in that. But also, it's like I can tell somebody to go listen to a podcast or a audiobook. But if you hand them the book, it's different. there's a tangible thing. Every time they look at that book, they're like, if they're not reading, be like, oh man, I told them I was going to read it, or I'm going to read it. It's the ability to pass off that knowledge a lot better. I think maybe depending on the person, could seat more if you see the words and you know, all that. But dude, anytime you can take in knowledge and learn something new, like that's where I'm at. And you mentioned, you know, the experience versus knowledge. And we mentioned earlier life lessons and learning them the hard way. And I think that's what it is. You know, you can read about it all day, but until you experience it, you can't explain why you know it or anything like that. You just like, I know now. And, you know, it seats it more.
There's a different confidence that you move with.
And I think for the longest time too, I was wrapped up with just knowledge. And now I'm just like, well, okay, what's this knowledge worth if I don't know how to implement it? I don't know how to provide, you know, how to relay it best to another person. That's where I'm at with communication. It's so hard to get what's in here to be said perfectly by what's out here, to also be heard by you in the way that I want it to be intentioned.
I think that's the most important part right there.
Words mean something different to you than they do to me because of our experience with those words, man. And then, you know, I might use a word that you're not familiar with, but then you're just going to go like, yeah, okay. But then, you know, it's like, what's that word? And even for me, I mean, like, I think this is what it means. And then you research it and it's like, oh, it's different. And so it changes the meaning.
Well, and I think like when you're trying to navigate, something I heard like on the way over here is like, how do you navigate your losses, right? Like, cause everybody appears good when you're winning, you know, like how life is good, you know, gas tank's full, fridge is full, bills are paid, you know?
Yeah.
But when grandma dies and, you know, your car breaks down, you know, like how are you handling those moments?
Yeah.
You know? And, another thing I heard too was about like, you know, like some of the stuff that you've done recently, like choosing to suffer prepares you for when you have no choice to suffer.
Oh, dude, goosebumps. That's so fucking true, man.
Yeah,
that's true. You beat yourself up. Life's gonna beat you up. If you beat yourself up a little bit, then when life kicks your ass, you're better equipped. I'm not saying you're invincible. Nobody ever says that, but you're better equipped.
I like the thing that Eric Thomas says too. Like I said, I listen to a lot of stuff, and he says, he's like, you might see me cursing somebody out on the street someday. He's like, my morning routine does not guarantee that I'm going to have a great day.
Yeah.
But it gives me the best odds that I'll have a great day. He's like, so you might see me cursing somebody out on the street. He's like, obviously, it wasn't one of my best days. It's like, but if I do what I'm supposed to do, then it gives me the best opportunity to, you know? And I think that falls in line, too, with how much, like, you know, how often are you going to do the things that you know are best for you? Because most of the time, you're not going to want to, you know?
Yeah, that's the hard part. The hardest thing to do is what you know to be right, you know. And it's like, damn, you know, when it is hard and it goes against what's gonna be easy, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like where you get something quick back. Oh, I forget what that word is. Drawing. It leaves me as I try to find it, just like my ex-girlfriend.
Stand-up comedy Tuesday night.
Boom. You mentioned one other thing. Yeah, what a song meant to you then might not mean the same thing to you now. Yeah. Even though you wrote it, even though it came from you. It's like watching a movie that you watched all the time as a kid and watching it, you know, say you watched it when you were like 8, then you watched it when you were 18, then you watch it when you're 28, and then you watch it when you're 38. They're going to hit you differently because you have all this life experience now that you have to weigh what you see up against that. And so you are a completely different person. And I mean, nobody out there is not, but if you're not, then you're not growing.
For sure. I mean, I think too, like, I would always challenge my friends in the songwriting world. I always wanted to write about about growth for whatever reason, and so and I get some dirty looks sometimes, but I'll be like, hey man, let me show you one of my new songs. Show them, and like, hey man, let me show you one of my new songs. I listen to it. I'll be like, man, I love you, bro, but another song about a girl. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, you write really good melodies. Why don't you put it to something, So I don't know, man. Because of that, sometimes I'll be at a gig and I'll just look at my songs and I'll be like, what do I want to tell myself right now? And I think that's been a pretty interesting thing too, is I've become aware of what I take in, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting how if I'm not feeling great, it's easier. It almost seems more like the thirst for sad, depressing 90s rock is present,
Yeah.
But when I'm feeling good, if I put on some song that the lyrical content is depressed and whatever, it's man, that I don't vibe with that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's it's just so interesting to be so aware, whether it's complimenting where you are at or trying to turn it around because you're down for whatever reason, or life's throwing punches at you, and you're just give me a fucking break, you know what I mean? Let me just get a week where shit don't break down, nothing don't fall from the ceiling, nobody dies or breaks a hip. Let me just chill, let me just breathe, It's just interesting, I maybe sometimes I think too much about it, but I really think that we are being tested, and we are given these opportunities to grow.
Yeah.
And I think the difficult thing too is that most growth comes from trial.
Yeah.
Tribulation, So it's sometimes I feel it can be difficult when even if you do a race, right? You just ran all those miles, or I just ran all those miles, whether you finish it, whether you don't finish it, whether you thrive, whether you just survive, whether you whatever, it's a lot of buildup for one thing, and then that one thing ends.
Yeah.
And then it's how do you feel now, and what is it? It's I don't know, life just takes you on a crazy journey, and to be present every day, and to continue to put things in front of you that pull you forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's important to have energetic things that you're inspired to do.
Yeah.
The ability to pivot is really hard, when that band I was in, where I was the singer and we were together for 9 years, when that band concluded, I felt an identity crisis.
Yes.
I didn't know who I was, and I was always this guy from this band.
Yeah.
That's just who I was, So I don't know. I feel I've lived several lifetimes, and I'm on this roller coaster where I hope the roller coaster, because there's ups and downs in life, I hope the roller coaster is we never have too low of a low, right? You go up a little dip, up a little dip. The little dips are fine, they're gonna happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how much do you lose,
Yeah. And that's what we need to admire when people pull themselves out of those dips. Those motherfuckers are gonna come back and really teach you something.
And I think that's the part of the power of David Goggins' story.
Yes.
It's because he was fat, he was spraying for cockroaches, he was no one that you would look up to.
And the biggest thing was his internal voice was just talking shit to him and telling him he's nothing, because that's all he's heard his whole life.
Yeah.
You are nothing.
And you have to, whether it's finding out how you learn, whether it's reading, whether it's listening, whether it's watching, to yes, address weaknesses, but also like lean into the strengths. Like where do I do really well, and let me amplify that.
Yeah.
You know, as well as work on areas that obviously you need to work on. You know, you don't want to. Sadhguru talks about it too. It's like you can't climb a tree without balance. How could you possibly ascend in life and truly reach higher levels of existence unless you have balance? You know, and that's like a huge struggle that I've had in my life for a long time, is just, you know, like workaholic, you know, or do this, or like I'm all in on this project, and, you know, my sleep sucks, right? Because I'm just trying to grind away late hours. That's how you do it. But it's like, after a while, like my cycle was, I would grind and I'd crash. You know, I go like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, just like crush, like working 7 days a week, laptop, you know, working on stuff on break for 10, 15 minutes, just like, you know, and then I'll crash and be non-existent, right? You know, in my relationship, you know, I finally get a day off, and it's like, what do you want to do? You know, and it's like, I'm going to sleep on the couch, you know, like, so I think that's the thing too about like, if having a daily routine and trying to be present every day and thinking of every day as day one, is that when you have confidence of doing your daily shit, then like you can find peace in saying like, I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend time with people I love.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my phone away. I'm going to turn the emails off or whatever, you know, because I know that for months or, you know, hopefully years and then decades, like I've been showing up every day, and if not every day, 6 days out of the week or whatever, you know what I mean, to where it's like, this is just what it is.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'll get to it tomorrow. You know what I mean?
That's good. And you know you're on that because when people like look at you and it's like, well, hold on, you're just resting? Or hold on, you're going to do this? It's like, what? Like the other day, I got home from work and I was beat up, you know, from everything, from the run, my sciatica, and, you know, lack of sleep. And my girlfriend asked me, she's like, oh, you okay? And I was like, I'm just tired. And she was like, oh, okay. And like I laid down on the bed, and she was telling me that she told her mom, she's like, yeah, I know he's tired because he said it. And he laid on I've never seen him lay on the bed with his clothes on, like never, like just like, so she's like, you need to rest. And that's, I feel you on that, where I'm like, just go, gotta make something happen. Something's gotta stick, man, because I feel like I'm so far behind.
Yeah.
That you forget to really enjoy your life and enjoy the company that you have. Like how many relationships, and not saying that they need to be romantic or anything, but how many relationships maybe did we miss out on being able to experience a different type of growth because we pushed certain people away because we were working too hard, you know, and not enjoying what they brought to the table.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely have been places where like I'm not present because, you know, I'm working on this, and I totally could have missed opportunities.
Yeah, and then you have people, you know, when you get to a bigger stage, you got people relying on you to make sure that this goes through. So, of course, I got to have it, you know, it's on my mind because all of these people back here are relying on me, not just me and what I'm trying to accomplish. So, yeah, it's going to keep the machine going, you know. But what you realize, though, is taking that break allows you to come back and have a new form of enjoyment with what you're working on. Be like, oh, that's right. Because when you're in the thick of it, you're just like, fuck all this. But you know what? When you're in the thick of things and you're like, oh my God, this is the worst ever. And then you're on this side of it now and you're looking back and you're like, yo, remember those times when we were freaking, you know, broke down on the side of the road in New Mexico, you know, and you're like, you look back fondly on that because you rose to the occasion. You pulled yourself out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and life is experience, you know, like, and it's a reflection of where you're at in your life, you know, and how you deal with it, you know? So I guess trying to learn, again, like I love listening to stuff, and like Sadhguru said this thing, this like literally, there's so much good knowledge and good perspective.
Yeah.
And I love hearing it all. But this to me is like, if there's one thing that I want to apply in my life, and that I think is the most important thing.
Just to encompass every aspect of your life.
Just like if you could only, they're like, if you're on a desert island, you only get one album or whatever, Like if there's only like one rule to live by. Sadhguru said this one time, and I was just like, damn, like that's like everything. So he said, just be pleasant, right? He said, too many people open the door for somebody and maybe they expect a response, like, oh, thank you, Maybe they don't expect a response, but they're bothered by the lack of response.
Yeah.
And he said, but if all you concerned yourself with was the act of being pleasant and being loving without any expectation of love or pleasantness being returned, and to the point where you are completely unbothered by it. You're just like, I have another friend who just says like, do the next right thing, and an example he uses, like, you're at work, you're walking, and there's like a napkin on the ground, like pick it up. You know what I mean? Like what's the next right action I could do? Yeah. And so he said like that, and then, whether you'll get love back or not is not your concern. He's like, and if you live that way, are you not in a pleasant life? Because you're not concerned. And are you not spreading pleasantness and love to the world?
Yeah.
And like inevitably you'll get it returned, And so I just think that that's like the most important thing, because like in times of like trial, tribulation, tough times, bills are tight, car breaking down, whatever, like you can't change that, And I've definitely been, the reason that for me it's powerful is because I've definitely been that person where like that one too many things happens, and I'm just like fucking lose it, just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
And like there's this story that I always go to that's I don't remember if it was in like the last few months of my grandfather, like he was passing away, or if he had passed away and I was just in that state. But when I lost my grandfather, I was like more emotional than when I lost my brother, or like different things. Like for whatever reason, like I was more angry, and and like I don't know what happened, but like a screw fell down our sink into our garbage disposal, and the garbage disposal got turned on, and the screw, got jammed in the garbage disposal,
gotcha.
So like, you turn on the garbage disposal, it's like, and it's like stuck,
Yeah.
And man, I've lost it, bro. I was just like, oh my God, this mother effer, just like so mad,
Yeah.
I had a screw in a garbage disposal, you know? Like I got the freaking crowbar, I'm like, I'm gonna get this thing, good thing I didn't tear apart the kitchen because I was a rental. But my point in that is just like, one, a lot of times how we act and react is a reflection of what's going on in our life. It's like me and my girl would always laugh too, because like we had this old teacup Yorkie, right? And sometimes she like lick herself, and you're like, lady, stop.
Yeah.
Like fucking stop, and like it's funny though, sometimes you would literally be like losing your mind, like if I hear that lick one more time,
That's my girlfriend. She don't like her cat clean.
Bro.
Washing. No showers out here.
Yeah. But like 2 days later, I don't know, you had a great day, great gig, whatever, you're at home, she's doing the same thing. You're so cute, It's like she's not doing nothing different, right?
Yeah.
What's different is you.
Is how you come to the table.
Yeah,
that's really it. And that's why like you have to take into account how people react in public, involving you, a scenario and you can't take it personal, man, because you don't know what else is like you're just the screw in the disposal for this person. Like it was just the last straw. I've already been dealing with someone cut me off on the freeway. My mom's been sick. My job's on the line. You don't know what's happening, and next thing you know, you freaking don't say thank you while they hold the door open for you, and that sets them off. Like is like another thing.
Yeah,
and it really is.
That's so funny.
The
dude.
perspective.
I was just me and my girl played at the MIM, and I was just flyering a parking lot.
Yeah.
Old school, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
And and I didn't even think about it until now, because in the moment I was just like, whatever. But this guy drove up in a truck when I was flying, and he was so mad.
Really?
He was so mad at me, you know. And my she was flying too. She's a G2, but she's like, you know, one row over, you know. And she like sees this happen. I'm glad it happened to me and not to her, you know.
Yeah.
But this guy's now it's funny, but he pulls up and he's just like, quit putting that fucking trash on our cars. And I was just like, bro, I was like, it's a sound bath. It's a sound. Maybe you
could benefit from this, man. Yeah.
He was just, you know what I mean? He was like so upset, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's like,
hand it back. Can I give it to somebody that's going to appreciate it? Yeah.
But I thought of that when you just said, like, what happened to him?
Yeah. Who knows?
His wife has multiple sclerosis, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, so I heard somebody say one time too, like, and it's not like meant to be like disrespectful or mean or anything like that, but it's like, you know, if you have not dealt with tragedy, you have not dealt with tragedy yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, like it, and anybody you meet that hasn't, it's almost like you gotta be prepared to be there for them. You know,
yeah, you almost got to pray for them even harder, because I don't know how you're gonna react. Man.
Yeah, because it's all perspective, right? It's like I know for sure, I did not have it the worst. You know, there's just so many stories of people have way worse than me, but I had it hard enough to know that life isn't easy, and we should be kind, and we should be patient, and you know, like I said, like I lost my only brother to drugs and stuff, and like, and you know, even my mom being sober now for 8+ years, like the reason I bring actually those couple things up is because we can't change anybody either, you know. So the only thing, like this thing I was listening to recently, you know, and it's so true. Now I've known it for years, and you know, I have my own journey, right? I'm definitely not perfect, but like the best thing I can do for the entire world is work on me.
Yes, be an example.
Yeah, be an example. If I work on me, then I show up for you. If I work on me, I inspire you. Maybe not, you know. But like, that's it, you know. And like, to know, like, you know, shit, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, like, my family couldn't call and rely on me. I wasn't a bad person, but I was probably hungover. I was probably not present. I was probably, well, a lot of different things, you know. And as I've gotten older, I've actually thought about, like, you know, that I probably hurt a lot of people, you know. And I didn't ever, like, do anything, like, maliciously, you know. But it's like, dang, you know, like, I definitely left some like wreckage behind me, you know. You're just like cruising along, you're like, what? I'm good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's like
a cartoon
swerving on the freeway, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't cut you off, but I swerved almost into your lane, but I'm still in my lane.
Yeah.
And I always swerved, and like everybody behind you's like, what the hell, dude? When you're like, well, I'm still in my lane. I didn't really cross into yours, but it seemed like it.
I saw for whatever reason just now I saw like Donald Duck in like a car. He's like swerving, you know, and like almost hitting trash cans to where like they're falling over, you know. But he's just like, I'm good, you know. But it's just like, look, bro, you.
There's carnage back there.
Yeah. But it's cool, you know. And like I have musician friends that have like seen my life change, you know. Like just a very basic black and white example is like, you know, maybe 10 years ago I walk into a regular gig and they're like Jameson on the rocks, you know. I walk into a gig now and they're like cold brew, you know. So, you know, things have changed, you know.
Yeah. I feel you on that, man. I'm actually serving my 1 day in jail tomorrow for my DUI from back in March. Yeah, man. So that's been a crazy learning experience, which I knew was already bad. But like I said, until you're in it, man, bro, you don't make the necessary changes, and you think it's not you. It'll never happen to you. You think you're above it. You think all these things, man. And as a musician, again, you go to play these places. You have a band tab. People buy you shots.
Yeah.
For one, my insecurity of not being a good bass player would be like, well, you need to take a couple shots. And after a couple shots, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm on this stage.
Yeah,
you know, there it is. And, man, learned it the hard way. But it's been it's been a beautiful journey and growth, and got so much relief and just a calmness once the judge asked me how I plead, and I said guilty, and just the release of that. And I'm actually going through the courses right now, and it's talking about shame and guilt, and shame will drive people to continue in the addictive properties.
Mm-hmm.
And guilt means that you recognize it and you're willing to grow from that. So I actually do think very fondly of shame, because I don't want to feel it, right? So I don't want that shame. So I'm gonna try and do what I can to avoid that being an outcome. And this has provided me a lot of shame, and me accepting the guilt allows me to grow from that. And me being as vocal as I have about it, I know I've had at least 2 or 3 people come to me and be like, yo, I curbed my, drinking and driving, or how hard I've been going because I saw it happen to you.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if that's all that comes out of this, that 3 other people or whoever else heard my story was like, okay, maybe I need to readdress my own thing, then that's a win, man. That's a win.
For sure.
Yeah. So those lessons, man, it's the experience.
Dude, and honesty wins, and honesty wins because then your heart's at peace,
Yeah.
And then you hope, that you inspire somebody. And, the thing that's really, I think, magical to think about is most people won't tell you, So, like, for everyone that tells you you've helped them, there has to be at least another one that you'll never hear from.
Yeah.
That, like, you hit them at the right time, or, they needed that one last thing, or one just to know somebody been through it, I mean, like, it's crazy, dude. Like, so, like, I fought my kid. I got 3. So in 6 months, I got 3 DUIs, and I lost my only brother.
Damn, dude.
And so life was crazy. So for like a long time, like, because 3 DUIs is a felony, so I had to go to prison, and like, not Tent City, like Arizona Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
And I was like scared, so I like fought my case for 3 years, and then had to go in for 4 months, and then on probation for this amount of time, and breathalyzer, like, dude, it ended up being like 8 years of my life.
8 years of your life.
8 years of my life, dude.
Fees, all that, fines,
everything. And like, it's just crazy, and like, I added up the number once. The number is like so astronomical because I never stopped gigging. So I Ubered with like my PA.
Oh shit.
And my cart, I'll put all your shit on your cart.
Yeah.
Like, for 6 years.
Dang.
So and I did like 250, 300 gigs a year, So like, we're talking like thousands of gigs.
Yeah.
In a Uber or a Lyft, or doing 2 gigs in a day. And,
damn, dude.
Like, and it worked because it's a gig worker, right? So like, I'm able to get paid that night or whatever, and but like, I remember, I had like Ubers pull up before, and they just they look at me and it's like, you gonna put all that in my car? And I was just like, yeah, man, it fits in a Prius.
Yeah.
Because I, what I mean, and I'm good with Tetris. You know what I mean? Like, blah 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 blah. And people are like worried about their car to get out, and they're like, "You want me to help you?" I'm like, "I don't want you to help me.
Yeah,
it's my gear. Yeah. I'm like, I swear to God, you watch me. I'm gonna be nice and gentle, baby.
I was just thinking about, because usually musicians would like to help me tear down. And I was already picturing you be like, "Hey," I'm like, "No, I got it, dude."
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't want to just sit there while I'm breaking down and setting up, because I'm kind of familiar with this, but I was like, no, I got my routine, man,
yeah.
and it's my equipment.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be set.
I don't offer to ever help anybody,
and I'm not being an asshole.
But I also never accept offer. Like, I don't want anybody. One time in all my life, I let my girl help me, because at the time I wasn't driving still, and I had a corporate gig in Tucson.
Yeah.
And so, like, when the gig's over, especially if you're like with somebody, whatever, they're like, let's go, and like, I'm packing up, like, well, hurry up,
Yeah.
I'm like, I am good. You mean, like, I can't be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Just throw everything in the
yeah,
suitcase.
I don't do that.
No, hell no.
You know,
Mm-mm.
and she was like in a mode of like, let's go. I'm like, she's like, there's nothing I can do. You know, I was like, all right, you can wind up the cables, but you got to wind them up like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
don't and don't make it all small, and don't make it all big. You know what I mean? Like,
There's
good
an
size.
art. Wrapping cables is an art.
Yeah, dude, and she crushed it. You know what I mean? It's not,
hell yeah.
you know, like it's like that complicated, and she was motivated to go. But really, like that's it. Because then I even put everything back in my cases, how it is. So I know where it is.
Have you ever been more turned on by her?
I had for sure.
Okay, just
not
checking.
not when we're dirty hand freaking cable wrapping at some like outside venue in the desert. You know what I mean? It's like, let's go. I mean, I was down to go home too, but I'm just that OCD about the gears. It's just like, bro, no.
You'll thank yourself the next time you pull it out, man. That's it.
Bro, and like the story sounds like stupid, but it's just true, and it's my life experience too. But you know, like I don't even know when, you know, sometime within the last 15 years, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. But like, you know, sometimes like a client is like, let me help you out, you know, and they're drunk, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, bro, like this guy almost like dropped my guitar one time, you know. It's like, and it's just like, and everybody's looking. I'm just like, that's why you just give it to me, dude. Just
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but that's why I'd say no to everybody.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
man.
Like, just no. I'm sorry. Like, no. Like, they will be nice, you know? Like, you'll know I've made it when somebody else sets up my stuff. Because then I have enough money that I don't even care if you tear my shit up.
What if you got all that and people asking you to help? Like, hey, can I help you? Like, after one of your runs, hey, can I rub your feet?
Bro, yeah, get away from me, bro. My brother-in-law, who's one of my best friends, he's like an athlete and he knows tons about recovery and stuff. I think it's either after this year's 100 or last year's, whatever. He's like, you want me to, like, you know, massage anything, whatever, you know? He's like very strong. He was like on American Ninja Show and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a beast. And I was like, don't fucking touch me. And he's like, cool, I get that too.
Yeah.
Totally good. Just saying, you know.
Do you get any massages?
I do. There's a guy, actually off air, if you want his number to help out with your situation.
Oh, dude, yeah, hell yeah.
Just to give you preface, we call him Eddie the Butcher.
Ooh, damn, dude.
He comes to you. He's been doing it for like 2+ decades. We worked on everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like a massage therapist, but he's special. So like in all the time of everything that I've done physically, I've met two special body workers. Mm-hmm. There's this guy named Adam Sturr. I think he's out of Vegas right now, but I mean, he's worked on like some of his clients are like high-end NFL defensive end players and like stuff like that. And even this guy Eddie in town has worked on different like Michael Phelps and stuff like that.
Damn.
But they're like, both these guys are like unknown independent contractor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have some sort of like, it's not just like twist and breathe. There's something special about them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like even like in the athletic world, right? There's like the most special athletes are also gifted physically. You know, they're the ones who like have that gift physically, but also put in the work.
Yeah.
You know, so both these guys are like that. Anyway, this guy Eddie, I think his last name is like Edward Massatori or something like that. But bro, he'll fuck you up, bro.
In the best possible way.
In the best possible way. Like he's been my go-to. Like the last few years before any of my big runs, like I definitely get worked on by him. I definitely get worked on by him after the big runs.
Yeah.
It's painful. It's an hour. You breathe through it. And the fucked up thing is that, like, you know, when he's like running through your muscles or whatever, you know, he might, like, my thighs are always the worst. He'll like run through it, and every now and then, you know, like I pull off the table, you know, because I'm just like, you know, like
yep.
it fucking hurts, you know. And the messed up thing is that, you know, he's like cool. He just waits for you to come back, and then he goes right back to that same spot.
We need to address this. You know?
Yes. He's like, I'll wait for you. Take some breaths.
Yeah.
I'll wait for you. Then we'll go back to right there again.
Yeah, right there. The struggle, and even, you know, massage is supposed to be
like just so you know, like too, like in his sessions, dude, I've cried,
Yeah.
I've laughed, I've like
Oh yeah.
freaked out. I've
Well, you're
cursed.
releasing all kinds of tension and built up freaking soreness and callous. And like, dude, I've been thinking about that lately because with this, like, the body is so fucking resilient, so adaptable that it just says, okay, this is my new normal. This pain is my new normal. I'm gonna have to hinge this way. I'm gonna have to do this, do that. And then next thing you know, you're just going through life and you're like, I guess I'm all right. But it's growing all calloused. And I think that's, to me, I'm treating it like a metaphor for even like our spirit, because, life is going to callous us. And the work we need to do within ourselves is to break that down, because you think that guy yelling at you with the flyers, oh, he's being tough and strong. And it's like, no, dude, you're actually showing a moment of weakness here by, because he could have been up and be like, hey man, I think it's kind of an inconvenience that you guys put these flyers on here. He could have went about that and got across the same point that he didn't want you to do that, but also you maybe would have been more receptive and been like, okay, well, I get it, but this is grassroots right here, man. And you guys could have had like a working thing, but no, he had a moment of weakness and he chose to act out in this way. And then there's no way he feels good on the way home about that. He's thinking about it the whole time. And
Yeah, that's great.
There's no way he's feeling about that. And so I think that's what happens to our spirit, is that we become callous by life. And then all we do is just grumble. And, this is how we go about life. And kids on my lawn. And, all of that. And it's like the work that we need to do within ourselves is to get back under there, massage all that out, and regain your limber. My flexibility is gone because of this thing. And to me, that's, if I have a successful life with my health and fitness and, getting stronger, at the top is flexibility to me. And I don't have it right now. So I'm very scared in this sense. So I'm willing to take every avenue.
I promise you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Not saying like healed.
Yeah.
Like magic, but like the two things that I always say whenever he works on me is, one, I feel more structurally sound after him. It's like you literally feel like, because he like massages you, does a little bit of chiropractic adjustment, but the way he massages you, it's like he's running through
the fibers, man.
Yeah. Like the fascia and but I feel more structurally aligned. I feel lighter. Literally like lighter.
Yeah, because your muscles are back where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Rolfing? ROLF.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't remember anything about it.
It's like deep tissue massage, essentially. And I almost equate it to like chiropractor, but for muscles, because it's like realigning them. And if our muscles are strands, right, and the ligaments are all just strands, right, well, it makes sense that every now and then they go over, a hook. And then again, the body just adapts because we didn't correct it. So now it's like, this is the new normal. And so now it starts building around that. And the whole idea is that it massages them back to their original placement,
where they should be.
And that's why you feel so,
yeah.
What'd you say?
Lighter.
Yeah, lighter, because now your body's not lumbering to
yeah. Like I'll feel like I'll do like an exercise like the next day or something like that, and like I'll feel like my muscles are like firing correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you do like a squat or something, and you like both sides are like going. You're like, hey, what's up, bro? You're there.
Lubricated. It's like you're lubricated in the right area.
The Tin Man.
Yeah. What got you running these crazy distances, man?
Universal, colliding of ideas.
Yeah.
At the time, especially like pre-COVID and all that sort of stuff, like I donated my time to foundations, meaning like I'd play music for free for like an hour at a children's hospital with cancer, or a shelter for women and children who've been abused, and so I would just I in the midst of playing music for a living out here, natural organic relationships appeared, and when it was a foundation that was like close to my heart or something like that, I would just say like, hey, like, you know, if there's opportunity for me to give back or, you know, donate my time, please let me know. And so places started doing that. And then, you know, how stuff is born too is, so pre 3 DUIs and 3 pre-prison, my grandfather would run like 4 to 6 miles, not 46, but like 4 to 6 miles. And he did it every other day, and it was like religious. So literally every other day, don't run this day, tomorrow I run 4 to 6 miles. Basically 45 minutes to an hour he run every other day. Vacation, travel, rain, snow, doesn't matter, you know. And so that kind of was like in my life. I did it all throughout my life. And then one time I ran 10 miles, and I was like, whoa, you know, like 10 miles, like double digits, bro.
That's a
like,
marker. That's a mile marker, man.
And so I did that one time, and then I went to prison for the 3 DUIs, and it's not much to do there. At least not much to do if you want to be like productive. There's plenty of stuff to do if you want to be doing not productive stuff. And so I worked out, I ran, I read, I wrote. And you know, I'd be so bored a lot of days. Like I run in the morning, and then I work out in the afternoon, and then I run again at night. And so then I started doing like 5 miles in the morning, 5 miles at night. Then I started doing 10. And then I was like, wonder how many laps around the yard would be a marathon. And figured it out. It's like 102 laps. And so the first marathon I ever ran was in prison.
No way, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I was just the crazy gringo on the yard running laps, you know, in my prison outfit and, you know, whatever. And it took me like over 5 hours.
Like,
so
don't mess with that guy. That guy's crazy.
Crazy, yeah. They were like afraid of me. They're just like, this dude's fucking wild. He's crazy. But and they also found out I played music. So like sometimes they'd get a guitar. So like once they found out, you know, people would like tip me like a single serving Kool-Aid packet.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, play that Sublime song, man.
Fuck yeah, man. Look at that.
But how life unfolded, right, is like, so I ran a marathon in there. And when I went in, I was in the middle of recording an album. So when I, you know, that was on my mind. When I ran that marathon, then as I was coming out, I think I came out in like July. And so I still had to finish the album. So I was like, all right, let me think, whatever. And the rock and roll marathon was in January every year. I was like, if I could finish the album, release it, you know, or like get everything ready to go and release it early next year. And I'm going to run the rock and roll marathon and then perform afterwards.
Dude.
And so I like contacted the rock and roll marathon. Like I found out who the booking agent was or something like that. I was like blowing them up, emailing, blowing them up, no response. And then on my birthday, my girl was like, what do you want to do, you know? I was like, drive me to their office.
Oh, shit.
And she's like, on your birthday? I'm like, I'm going to guilt them.
Ah, yes.
And so I showed up, and somebody answered the door, and I don't know if they're lying or not, but they're like, we were just talking about you. And
that's Hollywood, right?
Yeah. And so they gave me the opportunity. So I think it's 2019 or 2018. I ran the rock and roll marathon 45 minutes after I finished the marathon. Me and my band went on right after Everclear at Tempe Town Lake.
Dude.
And then the Marathon Musician was born. And then it was the next year after that I was like, okay, I got this running thing. And I got all these foundations I'm donating my time to already, just playing and singing songs. And so then I had this idea to run to California to benefit the foundations that I was already gifting my time to.
Yeah.
So I was like, it just kind of all came together.
Dude, I've had those ideas. When my dad passed away, I was like, well, how can I raise money? Because he didn't have any life insurance. He was living in Mexico at the time. And I was like, how are we going to pay for all of this? And one of the things I had in mind, I was like, oh, why don't I just run to Yuma? Because that's where I'm from. I was like, oh, I'll just do that. Maybe, document it. I'll be pretty tough, but I could get around it. I'll do it. And I just never did it. Never got around until we did your standard, bake sales, taco sales, car wash, and had enough friends and family help out that we were okay. But that was like the first time I had like that idea. And then this last time, so I was running, the backstory of me trying to run is, as a band, we used to go to Andy's Frozen Custard.
Okay.
All the time, get a milkshake. Like, that was our thing. So
like after the gig?
After like a gig or after jam session,
Okay.
or even every now and then, hey, you want to go make an Andy's run? Yeah, let's go. So we would go. And so I was like, I don't think they had many locations in the valley, and they were all in the East Valley. So I saw them. I was like, yeah, there's like 5 or 6. I was like, I could probably run to each one. How long is that? So I like Googled it, to each one. It was about 50 miles. I was like, I think I can do that. And my girlfriend's like, no, you can't. Like, you're not even trained up for us. I mean, I've been running, I've ran 10 miles. I've done this and that. She's like, dude, it's a different animal. And I'm like, well, I'll see if they're on board. I was like, well, actually, when's National Ice Cream Day? So I looked it up and it was like in 2 weeks. So I was like, dude. So I messaged them on their marketing, on their website. And I go, hey guys, I have a podcast, I, do stand up, and I would love to promote your place by running to each one. I don't know if there's a charity you guys partner with. We can take donations that way. And so my whole idea was just to go to each one and buy something there, run to the next one, buy a little something there, promote it. And no response. But it was like 4th of July weekend. So I was like, no worries, I'll give them a few days. Few days go by, and then I message them on Instagram, and they're pretty Andy's Frozen Custard is active on there. So they see my message, no response. And now I'm just like, well, why don't they want to? I mean, it's going to cost them nothing. So now I get like a little spiteful, and I'm just like, ugh, well, I kind of still want to do this. Maybe let me look up Cold Stones. No, too far. Baskin Robbins. And the Baskin Robbins are like located eerily close to each Andy's. So I thought it'd be funny instead of, I was like, because I was telling Andy's, we can announce it on National Ice Cream Day, July 16th, and I'll run it in Labor Day. That way I actually train. So with like 5 days to go, I have this idea. I'm just going to run to a Baskin Robbins, promote Baskin Robbins. I'm going to still run past every Andy's, but I'm going to give them the middle finger. And nobody knew anything of Baskin Robbins, didn't know. Andy's didn't know. And I was like, wow, I do want to do like some sort of, if I'm going to do this crazy thing, like let me collect donations for Yuma Food Bank. My mom had used them all the time when she was in Yuma.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, let's just do that. So they knew nothing about this. And here I go just with like 2 days to go. And my girlfriend's like, listen, I don't recommend it, but I support you. Let me know if you're going to do it. So she goes and has a girls' night, or they have like a sleepover. And I wake up the next day at 4 a.m. By 4:20, I'm on the road, just running. And so no warm up, no, a little one here and there, and no proper training. And she finds out via Instagram stories because I didn't bother telling her. So she's pissed, and she shows up and was a huge help. I couldn't have done it without her. Because I was just like, oh, I'll just run to the gas stations, go in there and do it. No, it wouldn't have been good at all. I would have been so loopy because I was loopy there at the end. I mean, it was 118, I think, when I did it. Yeah. And then, so she was like, okay, so now what's the plan? And I'm like, well, I'm going to run down to this Baskin Robbins and order ice cream. Then I'm going to run down to that one. And it's just like, it made no sense, to anybody else, but just me. It was a test. It was a test for me, And then I had to quit with 10 miles to go. Time, body was failing. And, but I felt good. I found out what my limits were, and I had a lot of internal dialogue and ideas come through that I was able to, work through.
And that was no one can take that experience from you.
Exactly, man. And to bring it all home, I was telling my coworker about it, and he's like, oh, I used to work at Andy's. That was my first job. I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, yeah, so they didn't want to do this thing for National Ice Cream Day. He's like, oh, did you call it ice cream? Oh, they hate that because it's frozen custard. So my spite was born out of even just a misunderstanding,
That's funny. That like this guy doesn't even know who we are.
Yeah, he wants to promote it. Doesn't even know that we hate ice cream. It's custard and this and that. Like,
how funny. How funny. You're like, don't respond to me.
Don't respond to me. Ah. Like, who's this guy out here just flipping us off? It was fun, man, and goes against everything that I promote when it comes to like health and physical fitness. But as you can attest to what you did, and we'll get to you right now because what you did was fucking impressive. It makes the circus of what I'm doing somebody will look at that and be like, well, it'll gain more eyes because it's ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. But then also they're like, well, I mean, if he's doing that, why can't I just walk around the block once or twice, at least that? Mm-hmm. Like anything to just move a little bit more because we're so sedentary. And then there's the idea of a masogi, which has been brought to my attention in Japanese culture. You're supposed to tackle, in this certain religion, you're supposed to tackle one thing every year with the 50% failure rate. So there's a 50% chance you're not going to accomplish what it is, whether it's learning a language, cooking a banquet, I don't know, whatever it is you want your thing to be. I'm going to test myself. And, yeah, it's essentially what I did in that sense. And it's like, yeah, man, you learn a lot in your you learn more when you fail. Because if I would have made it, then I could, then going forward, it's like, I don't need a warm up. I don't need a train. I don't need that. I just did it. I don't know. Like, ask somebody that's just is good at something. How do you do it? They can't explain it to you.
Yeah.
I just do it. Just, what do you mean? Like, but somebody that actually had to work on their craft and learn it, and like learning jujitsu from a small guy versus a big guy that just muscles it, right?
100%. Not every practitioner is a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at the best athletes in the sport. Do they make the best coaches? No. They really don't. I mean, who was Larry Bird was a coach, right?
He wasn't a great coach.
I'm trying to think who was the best player that maybe turned coach in anything. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Because even Jordan coached for a bit too, right?
Yeah, he didn't do very good either.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'll have to find out. That's one for the...
Usually the best coaches were players, but not great players.
Yeah, more like...
like Pat Riley played.
Yes, exactly.
But he wasn't like the star.
Like a journeyman player, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Maybe they're more humble.
It could. I don't know, man. It's like... Or maybe they just don't know how to best like speak to them. It's like, why don't you get it? I got it. Why don't you get it? You know, I don't know. I don't want to break it down to be that simple, but dude, you were fucking inspiring. For one, you're doing these cold plunges, which, you know, I'm trying to take cold showers, you know, but it's like the pipes are way too hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cold for all of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like those days are gone for me, which
for now, for a few months.
Yeah, for a few months. But my buddy told me he built a polar plunge.
Yeah.
So I need to go over there. But how long you been doing it now?
Started doing it regularly in December.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
in the heart. I'm like, you know what? It's not cold enough. I mean, we are in Arizona. Well, no, you're in Wickenburg, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for a while, I just had like a horse trough. That had horse water, or not horse water, but I just had water, and it was like, you know, Wickenburg during the winter, it gets down to like the 20s and 30s at night. So I'd do it in the morning, and it was cold.
Fuck yeah.
But then my brother-in-law converted just like a chest freezer, because like those things are so expensive, bro. They're like 5 G's or some shit.
The actual.
Yeah. So I bought, you know, just like a big chest freezer, and then he, what is it called? It's called a wet weld. It's just meant to seal whatever until now it's like always at around like 39 degrees.
Ooh.
And it sucks. It sucks, but I do it mostly for, I mean, there's tons of science obviously for cellular regeneration, immunity boosting, physical benefits. The main reason I do it is because I hate the cold. And it's a mental challenge.
Yeah, you lean into it.
Yeah, so 3.5 minutes. 3 minutes. I have a timer. I'm weird with numbers, so I start the timer at 3:33. And by 3 minutes, so I give myself 33 seconds to like actually get in.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
You know, like a step in, and then I go all the way in. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So I have to be in up to my neck by the time it's at 3 minutes. That way I do 3 minutes.
And that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
How long did you do the first time?
Well, so that was also born from the marathons.
Yeah.
So 3 years in a row, I did 16 marathons in 16 days.
Jesus Christ.
And so when I did that, when I did that, I did like a 10 to 15 minute ice bath after each marathon to help like me recover and not have like tons of lactic acid build up. Like I would, as soon as the marathon was over, I'd get in the back of our car and I'd elevate my legs. Like I'd lay down in the back. So that way my lactic acid wouldn't build up, and then I'd do like a 10 to 15 minute cold or ice bath. And like I hate it so much that like, you know, the behind the scenes, if you will, is like I'd make my girl like, she'd find like funny memes and jokes. And so when I would get like, I'd go in the bathroom and have the water, I'd get in, put all the ice all over me, and I'm like, all right, I'm in, come on in. So she'd come in and she set the timer for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And she'd show me like funny photos, stupid animal videos, just like anything. Cause I'm like, ugh, I'm like,
oh, to let down your guard.
Yeah, well, I'm just like freezing, you know? I hate it.
To get your mind off of it and let down your guard, because something about laughter, like when you want to learn something new, they say it's like if you want to teach somebody something, make it fun, make it laughter. And for me, it lets down your guard and you're able to receive this information. So it's like you're able to get away from what you're feeling physically because of the laughter.
And so I did that during the marathons. So 3 years in a row I did it. I undeniably felt the physical benefits, you know, after each one I'd feel a lot better. But I never did it other than that because I hated the cold. Yeah. And then all the science has come out, obviously, and there's so many benefits. And I was doing like 10 to 15 minutes when I do the marathons, and then the science came out that said like 3 minutes is like what they say. You get the majority of the benefits if you last 3 minutes.
Return of investment.
Yeah. And then if you do that every other day, then you sustain elevated levels. And so that's where it like came from. I was like, all right, well, I'll try to do 3 minutes every other day, you know? So when I started to do it like as a lifestyle thing, man, I got in, I wasn't even in 30 seconds. Dude. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was going to ask, I was like, did you feel that maybe since you were so hot off of running this, did you feel like it was colder or you tolerated it better because your body was harder?
I don't think it was a temperature thing. It was just like a beat up thing. So like I knew that if I didn't get in that fucking ice bath after a marathon, like I would fucking regret it.
Yeah.
Like the benefits are just.
So there was no question.
There's no question. Like I had to do it. You know what I mean? I had to do it. And like, you know, and then my whole night or rest of the day would start after that. So after I would run a marathon, I'd come home, right? The first thing I need to do is take an ice bath. Then I can shower and eat and relax. You know what I mean? So it's like I'd come home and just be like, it's just as soon as I get home, do it. Turn the water on.
Yeah, because you'll start talking yourself out of it.
Oh my God! Like, yeah. Let me eat first. Let me, you know, and the time goes by. Nah, bro, just get in, get it done. You know, and especially right after the ice bath, I would take a shower. So then you'd feel good. You'd be like, oh, you know, and that's the undeniable thing. So like the walk into the ice bath. And then the walk from the shower post ice bath to like the dinner table, it was like two different people. You know, it's two different people. Yeah. I'd limp into the cold plunge, and like, you know, especially the second and third year I did the 16 marathons in a row. You know, I had more knowledge and experience to game plan, bro. I mean, like year one, limping immediately. Oh my, this is crazy. You know, year two, you know, like. I'm like 7 marathons in, you know, cooking dinner, doing dishes. You know what I mean? Like, I've run 200 miles in the last like 8 days, and I'm just living. You know, you mean take out the trash, babe? We're cool. Pick up the dog poop. You know, pull out the recycle. You know what I mean? It was just normal life. You know what I mean? Sore, but not like, oh my God, you know, like crazy. You know.
The body's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of modalities now. Like if you want to be super healthy, like it really is like your responsibility. And like there's so many modalities now. I think the thing that me and my girl talk about is that I think the thing that people get guilty of is you see somebody who is all about a certain modality in health, but you can just see that like they still drink or they still whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can, like, I'm not hating,
Yeah.
but it's like you see people and they're like, I'm so healthy, I'm so whatever. It's like, bro, like, just because you meditate, you still eat junk food. Or just because like you eat super clean and you work out and you look ripped, you still partying at the club on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like people get so caught up in like they think they're doing it right, where it's like the greatest. Me and my girl have this like thought idea, and one day it's gonna happen. It's like to be so financially free. This is the dream, right? To be so financially free that you don't have to work. And what I would love to do for like a year or whatever is just travel and try to meet, you know, those people nobody knows about, and like what modalities of health are they experts in? You know what I mean? And just try to learn, like, your modality. What do you do? You know, because there's so many different avenues that people think of as health. And like really, like, there's no one thing that creates health. Like, you need to have all these puzzle pieces. Yeah. And so like I love learning the different things. So when the cold plunge thing like came back in my life as a lifestyle thing, like my brain already knew like the physical undeniable benefits, you know? So I was just like, fuck, man, I don't want to do this every day.
You're like, I know it's good. God damn it.
Yeah.
Why can't there be like a little bit where I'm like, I don't know if it is or not?
Yeah.
No, you know it's good.
And for me too, again, experience is the greatest teacher to me. So it's like, it's not just that like there's science out about it, it's that I felt it.
Yeah.
So physically I felt it. And the other cool thing is too, and my girl knows it too, like, so like, let's say I have my Sunday brunch gig, you know, and so that means like I'm home in the afternoon. Typically, like, especially during season when I'm like super busy gigging, like usually that's my last gig of the week. So I'm like tired, you know? So maybe like, you know, Sunday afternoon I come home, I've worked, you know, I don't know, 10 gigs in the last 9 days, and, you know, I'm tired, and I very easily could come home and put on the TV and just be like, you know.
Yep.
So
and it'd be justified.
It'd be justified, but sometimes what I'll do, especially like if we haven't had quality time together, you know, we've both been busy, whatever. Even if I already cold plunged that morning, I'll come home, I'll get settled, you know, and it's like basically, all right, now I'm just gonna chill with my girl. I'll go get the cold plunge, because then it like lifts me up, and you know, they say the dopamine kicks up. You know, like I literally am in a better mood. You know, I might go in there and be like, all right, I gotta get in this water. You know, then I come back, I'm like, yo, what's up, baby? You know, like, we alive. You know, maybe it lasts 90 minutes or 2 hours, then I'm tired on the couch. But for a little bit, I'm more pleasant to be around.
Yeah, and you're more present.
Yes.
Yeah. Present and pleasant, man. That's I think that's the key. The key
that's how
words
you keep your electric bill down during the summertime too, right? Because I'm like, I'm fucking cold in here, bro.
Yeah, man, that's a good call.
She's like, it's 82. I'm like, it's freezing.
Dude, when I got home after that run, I was like, can you turn off the AC? Like, and she's like, it's only at like 78 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I am like, blah, 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 blah,
but it's like 40 degrees colder than what you were just in.
And in for hours and hours. Yeah. 4:20 in the morning till fucking 7 at night.
Yeah.
Dude, so all right, so 16 miles and 16 marathons in 16 days. And you recently did the 100 miles and 5 peaks?
So I intended to do 5. The 100 miles was more important to me. And I had never attempted what I tried to do. So I was
I'm a Sogi.
There you go. And so I had thoughts, like, I didn't know how the route would unfold. I was like, oh, maybe I could end at, there's like a mountain in Wickenburg. So I ended in Wickenburg. I just didn't end at the mountain in Wickenburg.
Gotcha.
So I did South Mountain. That's where I started. South Mountain, Camelback Mountain, Payastawa, North Mountain. Started in South Mountain in 36 hours. Later, 100 miles later, ended in Wickenburg.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I had like 3 20-minute naps.
Dude.
It was brutal.
Yeah. What?
At mile 50, I wanted to legitimately quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What pulled you through?
the purpose, the cause. You know, every run I've ever done, pretty much, has been for a foundation. So, you know, in the moments where I'm like, I'm done, or what am I doing, or why did I do this, or whatever, there is a reason why. And so I know I've always done better than I would have done if that didn't have that reason and that why. And this year, you know, was for Debbie Lee. She has a foundation called America's Mighty Warriors based out of Surprise, Arizona. They help veterans rehabilitate from coming back, but also families that, you know, their family member, their soldier didn't come back.
Yeah.
And that was her son. Her son didn't come back, and that's what started the foundation. So, like, you know, when I'm out there and I want to quit, I think of Debbie Lee, and I think of her son Mark Lee, and what he gave, his life, you know, and so I was just like, man, there's just no way that I'm gonna call this person on Monday, let's say, and be like, I didn't make it, you know, and you know, last year I attempted the 100 miles and I went 81 before I quit. And that was for the Buckeye VFW, so the veterans out in Buckeye. And in between that attempt, and for the record, 3 days later I did 19 miles, just for my own mind to say I did 100.
Yeah.
But
Fuck yeah.
But in between that time and this year's attempt, I watched, again, like I like to listen and watch as a learner. And I started just watching people cross the finish line of a 100-mile race.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they look like they could hardly walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had this vision in my mind that, like, I was just going to get stronger, bro. You know? Like mile 92, I was going to be like, I only got 8 miles left. Let's pick up the pace.
Go.
Let's, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I had this, like, whatever, you know? But then I started watching videos, Dave Goggins, whoever you want to go. I mean, unless we're talking about, like, first place, you know, like the top 3 finishers of some crazy race, almost everybody's like shuffling, barely making it, crying, cramping.
Yeah.
They look like fucking hell.
Yeah, they've crossed to that other side, man.
Right? And so when I saw that visual, and then I've read both David Goggins' books, but the second one, called Never Finished, his like mantra in one of his races was, can I take one more step? And between that phrase and seeing what one more step looked like towards the end of a race, it took so much pressure off me, right? Because when I quit at 81 last year, I could take one more step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could. I 100% could. I mentally wanted out.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, it's like, I don't know, just it took so much pressure off, and I just knew that, like, hey, take a 20-minute nap. Hey, eat half a burrito. Hey, like, you know, what could I do to maybe improve my current situation? Did I need to get off my feet for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Do I need to add some fuel? Do I need to drink some electrolytes? Do I need to listen to... You know, I did in the middle of the night, because it was 36 hours, so part of that was in the middle of the night, you know, when it was like the darkest, like actually like physically the darkest in the night, like 3 a.m. or whatever time it was.
Yeah.
You know, I listened to a podcast, a 3-hour podcast of Debbie Lee on Jocko's podcast, talking about the story. And I had listened to it before, but you know,
it's different.
Yeah. You know, I'm at mile 60
dude.
something, you know, and it's in the middle of the night, and it's just like my girl, you know, at the QT on Grand and Bell, you know, waiting for me to come plot along, you know, hit another checkpoint.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just listening to this. I'm just like, I can't fucking quit, you know, can't fucking quit. And like, what's crazy too is the way like the mind is, right? So it's like, when I was I think it was like within 3 miles. I think it was like a 97 miles. I'm like almost done. I'm not like a great runner by any means, but like I do well at downhill. Like whether I'm hiking, whatever. Like I've always done really well at downhill. And the last like 3 miles was pretty much like downhill. I was at this area Wickenburg coming in. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. Everything lined up. I'm gonna crush these last 3 miles. Like, let me be done. Let me go eat some pancakes. That's what I eat. I'm saying. When I'm done, my babe knows pancakes, peanut butter on the pancakes. Anyway, put some granola on that peanut butter. But
well deserved.
Yeah, but bro, my body was so killed. My knees were so swollen.
Yeah.
That like I'd run for a little bit just to be like, I could force myself to run, but I was just feeling that my knees were like, please don't run.
Yeah.
But what's funny, and the point of that is that like, right, I'm in this pain. But bro, when I hit 100 miles,
if it was
no
like,
pain.
Yeah.
I was just like, I did it.
You accomplished it.
Woo, baby. It felt great. I'm like, whatever. And we went home, and I did my cold plunge and ate some pancakes, and we were just hanging out. It's just me and my girl and her brother. They were like basically my crew, and we're chilling. And I don't know, I'd been home like maybe 90 minutes. We're sitting at the kitchen table, just acting like nothing, just like, hell yeah. And then it all hit me. My body was like, you've been up for like 40 hours. You ran 100 miles in the middle of summer. Like, you're done. And like, I literally just got it from the kitchen table. And I don't even know if I, like a full sentence, bro. I was just like, and I'm done. I just like, I walked into the living room, passed out on the couch. I did not feel good. I felt like I was about to like black out.
Yeah.
And I asked my girl for like an ice pack. She got me an ice pack, and like I kind of like came to, and I made a proper goodbye. I was like, all right, guys, yeah, I'm done.
How long did you sleep?
I don't even know. I went to bed. The sun was up on Sunday, so, and then so I don't know, over 12 hours for sure. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. And then the next day or 2 days later, you're kind of feeling okay, or?
Bro, life is just funny and has been funny for me for a while. I feel like my life has like been testing me for sure. But there was this like confirmed, unconfirmed thing that a couple of days later I was gonna maybe teach like a class at a camp, like a songwriting class for camp kids.
Yeah.
And they never let me know nothing. And like 2 days later, after I ran 100 miles, I was like, man, if they don't hit me up, I'm totally cool to not go.
Yeah.
Because it was like at 9 a.m. the come morning, and I got an email the night before.
Excited to see you.
Yeah, and so like 72 hours after running 100 miles, I went and taught like 3 classes at this camp about songwriting.
Yeah.
And then I played a gig that night.
Oh, shit.
And got a flat tire on the way home.
Oh, man.
Bro, and I was just like, and I didn't have, I never got a flat tire in my car before, and I never looked, but the wrench was like definitely not strong enough to like get the nut off,
Damn.
like without it like bending.
Yeah.
And then where I was had no service, and
Damn.
and guess what? A veteran fucking happened to be driving by, pulled over with his dogs.
Yeah.
Pulled out some tools, just like boop, boop.
Damn,
There you go, bro.
Dude. Just like that.
Yeah. And I was just like, are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Yeah, babe. Yeah, and you could have used that moment where you're like, I got a flat tire now. Blah. You could have been flying off the handle.
Bro, I laughed. I was like so tired. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. You gotta be kidding me, I was just like, and where I got it, I knew I didn't have service, and I knew the road I was on, if I could just get to the next road, I'd be more visible,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you got that flat tire, you're driving, and you're like, you can still go for a little bit, but then there's gonna be that point where it's like, I shouldn't drive on this anymore,
Yeah.
Bro, I barely got to like this T where the road is, where there was more like traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where that guy saw me, and he pulled over. Man, maybe like 12 minutes.
Oh, no.
After I got there, he just pulled up, It's like nighttime. You're like, you trying to kill me, bro? Like, what?
Yeah.
Are you really trying to help me, And then he just busted it out. So he's like, I got this, and the truck, and crank it up. I was just like, bro, you're a lifesaver, bro.
Just like that, man.
Dude, it's such a long day. So let's say I started teaching at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
The gig was over at like 9:30, packed up by like 10, flat by 10:30, maybe fixed by like 11:30 midnight, home at like 12:31. I was like, oh my God, what a first day back. You know what I mean? Life is like, bro, you raising money for veterans. You doing so much in this world. That's so great. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Flat tires happen to everybody, bro.
Exactly.
Karma is not exempt from flat tires,
No.
or car breakdowns or family members dying, bro. That's just life.
Again, you can't look at it that way. Like, that brings it back to your karma thing, where it's like, are you doing this because you expect just, something in return?
Yes.
No, shit's still gonna happen.
Yeah.
Life's gonna go on, and life's gonna happen to you. You
Yeah.
know? So.
It's what you do with it. And you know what? Something came to me recently, too. If you're blessed and lucky enough to have people that love you, what you do in those moments affects so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the other things I love that I heard, and it's a bitch too, because like you are responsible, but other people are in your life, in your circle, are waiting to be blessed, dependent upon your own personal development.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah,
that's so heavy and real, right? As we kind of like to bring it full circle, we talked about like that transition. Like, when does the child become an adult and they become the leader of the family? Like your parents are on the back end of their life. Technology, knowledge, what you've learned in life, the platform they gave you that you built upon to hopefully go to a new level. Mm-hmm. Now you're this leader, this pillar in the family, and to continue to try to strive and be better. It's a bitch too. You know what I mean? It's like, it's wild to me to even think, the way that I moved in the world 10 years ago, lacked the awareness that I have now of how much, because like from like a selfish perspective, right?
Yeah.
When I lost my brother, I lost my brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I never was our family.
Mom.
Right?
Friends. Yeah.
And so during this time that my brother's living on the street, using heroin, my family's probably devastated just by that, right? I know I'm affected by that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm affected by it so much that I'm leaning into my free tab at my gigs. I'm working 7 nights a week. I'm drinking every night of the week, and I don't feel like I have a problem because I was never an alcoholic that woke up with a bottle, right? But I would take advantage of the free drinks every night.
Yeah.
And so like I wasn't as bad as this friend. I didn't wake up drinking. I didn't drink at home. I didn't even have alcohol at my house, But gigging every single night of the week, I'm drinking every single night of the week, know? And so it's like, it's just crazy, like how far you've come and how it really is reliant upon the flexibility of your perspective, and being able to be humble enough to continue to learn and think of other people's perspectives and to try to be kind. I mean, being kind is a bitch too. You know what I mean? Like, because again, it's a reflection of you. Like if I'm irritated at things that have gone on in my life and then, a friend just asked me a simple question, but it's just like too much at that moment, and it's like, I think my saving grace is like, I've gotten good and I'm willing to say I'm sorry.
Huge, man. That's huge, because my son has the hardest time with that, because his admission of saying I'm sorry and to me as well, I recognize this, that if I say I'm sorry, if you bring something to my attention, even though it wasn't my intention for it to be accepted, that you would take the information as such. Me even saying I'm sorry was almost like me accepting that, I said that with the intention to hurt you, or this and that. It's my admission of complete guilt in that. And for him, it's pulling teeth, man. Just say, I'm sorry. And I have to tell him all the time, bro. I was like, the strongest person will say, I'm sorry first. It takes a strong person to do that, to say, you know what, I was wrong. It takes a stronger person to be kind. And in our minds, we think it's like, oh, the guy that's being the asshole, the person that's just, bitching out, the manager, this and that. That's the strong one. It's like, no, the strong one is the one that stands there with stoicism and is kind.
You talked about it too, and it's like, how is your message received, right? So like, I used to talk about this with my dad, in the sense of like, what's your intention, and are you speaking towards that intention, or are you speaking just because this is how you speak, because of like your natural cadence, and this is how you are, you can't change an old dog or whatever, you can't teach a new dog or old dog new tricks. It's like, what's your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? And are you speaking in line with that intention? And that doesn't mean that you're like manipulating people, but it means like, what's the point of speaking and trying to be heard if you aren't also trying to be aware of how it's being received? And I think maybe that plays into it too, where it's like, sometimes you may apologize for something. It's like, well, I didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's how it was received, and that can be a fine line, right? Like, you don't want somebody who's so sensitive that like, it's like, well, that hurt my feelings. Well, that hurt my feelings. Well, that hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? So that has to be a fine line. But like, that doesn't mean that like you shouldn't be aware that like, hey, this person I love or this person I care about doesn't receive information in this way. Like I love to listen to inspirational stuff and like in lots of different formats, but like, one very specific format is like, freaking like Spartan like theme music, dun dun dun. It's like, fucking get off your ass, climb the hill, and like, I'm like, it's like in my own world, like with my headphones on. But not everybody can take a message like that. Not everybody. Some people, if you scream at them and you're like, fucking push, let's go, they're gonna completely retract, think maybe you're an asshole and dip, or somebody else is like, yo, give me that, yell at me. So you have to learn, like for a very simple example too, is that like, in my relationship with my woman, right, I put a lot of value on expression, meaning like, if she, whether it's in a text or whether it's in a card or whether she tells me in person, we're sitting down and drinking some tea together, whatever, and she's just like, hey, like, I really appreciate you picking up the extra bills this month, or the way you were with my mom. Just the expression of gratitude, or whether it's a financial thing, whether it's just an emotional support
and acknowledging
thing.
it. Hey, I noticed this. Thanks.
Yes, that means everything to me. You give me that, and I'm good. Like, that's my love language, if you will, right? I also am quick to do that because that's what I want, right? So, like, I'll leave a note, I'll leave a card, I'll get some flowers, I'll write, like, a little 8-bar text poem, something like that, right? But that's not what she wants, right? Not that that's not something that she'll accept and receive with love and whatever, but like, she wants to be cooked for her. She wants to come home and like have a home cooked dinner. Now I do that, and she's just like, "Are you hitting on me?" So like, we have to learn what affects the other person. You know what I mean? If I'm just like, well, like, I just want you to express to me, I express to you. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. You know what I mean?
That's the thing is, well, you should know. You should is such a way. You should know. Don't you care about me? You know me. You should know what I like. You should. It's like, no, dudes, don't. sometimes we just have to spell it out. What's wrong with having to spell it out for somebody as far as like, hey, this is what I need. Now, if you've done that 2 or 3 times and the person's still not there, then now it needs to be readdressed. But it's like, you can't just expect people to be mind readers, man. You have to be able to have that line of communication, and you tell her, hey, this is what really gets to me. This is what I appreciate. And if she can take that and then run with it, you know,
and I like it too. I like it too from the aspect of like, cool, like now I've told you.
Yeah.
You know? Like I like, you know, coffee in the morning. Or like no, I told you. It wasn't like you should know me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like no. I like X, Y, and B. And I'll tell you all the time, you know, because I like this. And when you do this, like, it makes me happy, you know? It's like people, it's okay for, like, people to be reminded because, like, most of the time it's not like people forgot. It's just that, man, life is tough,
get comfortable.
dude.
Well, we get comfortable, man. And
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that as the next person, because that's how I was in my marriage, my previous marriage. I'm not married now, but
Yeah.
first it was. I would hear the same talk, the same conversation, and I know that it was me lacking, and I can acknowledge that. You know, that in those moments it was me lacking and not being as self-aware as I should have been, and being wrapped up in all my own bullshit. And that's why, like, you just have to treat everybody with a little bit more mercy and grace, because we're just dealing with, we're just cruising through life with the tools we have that were handed to us by people that barely knew how to use those tools themselves. And so, like, you have to just give everybody a ton of grace, because we're just trying to get by just like the next person, man.
Yeah.
And you can't just think that everybody, you know, has the bad intentions, or they should have known better, or this and that. And it's like, sometimes it's just not even something that would have crossed their mind otherwise.
Yeah. No, I try to have, especially my relationship with my woman, like I want to understand, you know?
Yeah.
So like I'll ask for things to be spelt out. You know? It's like, no. Like, give me the recipe.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
How much cinnamon? How much, you mean? Like, no, tell me exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, let me write this down. You know what I mean? Like, because I also forget. So, like, I write down, like, important things. You know what I mean? And we don't know. Like, you mean, we don't know what life means. Like, I went to prison and I ran a marathon. And then I turned that into running a marathon and performing, and that became a marathon musician, and that became running to California, and that became a nonprofit, and that became this. You know, it's like we don't know what it will be.
Yeah.
You know,
With the momentum, you just got to keep it rolling.
Yeah,
doing
man.
that.
Yeah.
You performing all over the place, man. I want to definitely let people know where they can catch you, and you're doing shows with your lady. You guys
That's
do
new,
sound
yeah.
healing.
Yeah. So
Tell me about that, man.
She's been doing that for a few years now. And she's just super into healing in general.
Yeah.
So it's under her umbrella.
Yeah.
Sound healing. She makes teas with like organic herbs and tinctures and presses, and so she's been on that journey. And then a mutual friend of ours was like, we should do a show together. My friend, or our friend and her. And then he did a show. And then he moved to California to be with his girl, and then my girl was like, "Why don't we do a show together?" You know, and their show wasn't like anything like at the MIM or the theater like that. But at the same time, the MIM had just contacted me, and because I played there, this was the 4th time I played there.
Yeah.
And so I pitched them on us, me and my fiance, instead of me and my band, and you know, I've done it with the band twice. I did it solo once. I was like, oh, let's shake it up, you know?
Yeah.
And it was super cool, man. It was it's different. It was much more me in her world.
Yeah.
Not her in my world, you know? Like, some people I knew were like, dang, so she's going to sing with you? What song is she going to sing? I'm like, oh, it's a sound terminal. This is not.
Yeah.
We have a set list, but it's like bowls,
You're accompanying
gong,
her.
yeah, guitar stuff, you know. This isn't like this song, you know. But it went extremely well. We sold it out. She's a beast, dude. I mean, she's one, like you said about your girl helping you out with the run. Like, I couldn't do any of this stuff I've done without her support.
Yeah.
She's the coolest, most badass, beautiful woman that I know. I'm super blessed to love her and to be loved by her.
Yeah.
And you know, the best is just become, you know, like I think we can do a lot of cool stuff together. I think that she's gonna do a lot of cool stuff on her own too.
That's the big thing too, man. It's like allowing this person to be everything they can be, and also choosing to share it with you.
Yeah.
I think it's a big burden when we're in relationships where it's like this person is reliant on you for their joy, your home, your income, your everything, your image, their image. It's like, no, you should be your own person, having your own experiences, and then we come together to share those moments, man.
And like we said earlier in this conversation, like the best thing that any one person can do is become their best self.
Yes.
You know, because you'll be a better partner, you'll be a better son, you'll be a better friend, you'll be a better husband, whatever. You know what I mean? And like I've said before in the past, and I think that it's still true to this day, which I think is just really important, is just like, you know, don't be afraid to walk your true path, right? And then you'll truly see who walks with you. And, you know, sometimes, you know, that might mean the band that you're in, you know, that was your true path. You know, I think sometimes people get caught up in it's just like when something is over, a job, a band or whatever, it's like sometimes it's like there's like a negative thing there. It's like, oh, I'm glad that's done. Or like, you know, it's like sometimes it's like that. Fuck you. No, fuck you. No. Fuck you. You know, like I said, fuck you first. You know?
But like there's a cloud over it, or like it was a mistake.
Yeah, but it's not, right? Like, and that's why, like, you know, the band that I was in, Isle of Essence, for like 9 years, 10 years, it did end rocky because a lot of times things end, you know, they crash and burn or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like I since years have passed, like I've sent a group text that was just like, hey, just so you guys know, like, I love you all. Some of the best years of my life that I remember and don't remember were with you guys, you know. I'm super grateful. I learned so much, you know, a lot of like amazing times. Just because it ended a certain way doesn't mean that like that energy needs to sit in that negative way. You know what I mean? Like we grew apart, and you know, saying goodbye isn't always easy. You know what I mean? Like there are some exes in one's life that you're like, man, fuck that person. You know? But there are other ones where it's just like, man, like we did our thing, you know, it didn't work out. You know, I wish you the best.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to see you again. But like that doesn't have to be like this energetic thing. You know, like some of the people like I know are just like, man, those were the good old days, you know? And, like, I don't think of life like that, you know? Like, I'm 41. Some may see, like, I'm older or whatever. But for me, I feel like I've just really begun a journey of, like, health and learning and wellness and different things. And so it's like, I want to be excited about life.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, you see those, like, old guys, they're like 85, and they're like, I'm vegan, I'm doing pull-ups, you know? And it's like, and they're just killing it, you know? And so if you think of that, and you think of that, like, so, like, at 41, I probably have double, right? I should probably be able to get to 82 and still be crushing life. You know what I mean? And like, whoa, you know, if I think 10 years ago I was a different person, 40 years from now of life, growth, experience,
wow, dude.
bro, so cool. And I think that that's exciting. So like, you know, so many people like they get older, you know, they partied when they were younger, or they did this, or you know, the Al Bundy, you know, I was in high school, man, you know, it's like, bro, like there's so much to experience in life, you know what I mean?
So
like
much.
You can cherish something and say like I enjoyed this time of my life without thinking that like that was the best time, and now it's like, oh well, you know.
No, that's it, man. I'm right now the big thought is that once you lose your curiosity, you're dead. You're dead. So if you think there's no more here because my best years are behind me, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. That's it. I mean, pack it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much more. And I think right now your prime, is I'm 35 and I'm right at this age where it's like, I feel like I'm finally able to really turn this knowledge into wisdom and be able to utilize it, where I see people coming up to me now and they're asking me, certain questions, ideologies, philosophical things. And I'm just like, I'm not this dude, but this is the extent that I've thought about this. I hope it helps you. And then run with it and do something else. And then find something and bring it back to me.
Well, and that's what's cool about like the conversation, right? It's like, so whether you're having a conversation with somebody and you're sharing something that was important in your life, right? Or you hear a new concept or a new way of looking at a new perspective, like there's so much, like, in the DUI world too, like for a long time, it's funny, I did it so long that a woman retired, but like the DUI class that I had to take, I went back and talked to every month. So like I went for years.
Yeah.
Every month I'd go to her new Saturday class.
Yeah.
Of people who got DUIs, and I would share my story of losing my brother to drugs, me getting 3 DUIs, me going to prison, me spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on. When you add up 6 years of Ubers, just add up 6 years of Ubers. We're not talking about lawyers.
I don't even want to add 1 week, man.
Bro, I'd base my gigs off of that. That's when I started charging more too, because I was like, and this is back pre like pandemic, right? So like prices were a little bit cheaper. That's when the Uber was actually like pretty cheap at the beginning,
Yeah.
But it'd be like, I remember I lived in downtown Phoenix, and I was like, how many downtown Phoenix gigs can I get? Because my Uber is like $6,
Yeah.
So, but if I had a gig from downtown, it's in Scottsdale. Now it's like 25. What if I get out my gig into surging? Now it's like $70 to get home. Now I only made $50 at my gig. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, it was tough. Dude, I had a Sunday brunch at the Blue Hound, which is a restaurant and a hotel in downtown Phoenix. I had Monday night at Copper Blues, downtown Phoenix. I had a Wednesday night at a sushi place. I had like almost like a whole residency every week
mapped out for your
in downtown Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that way I could take my $6 Uber there.
Yeah. And be done.
Yeah.
You'd have to, man. You gotta become resourceful at that point.
Yeah.
I gotta hit the bathroom, but also I want to make sure. Is there anything else you wanted to tell the folks you want to touch on before we get into just you promoting like how they can follow you?
Yeah, man. No, we can wrap up, man. I'm an open book. I don't mind.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
No, I'm open to talk about anything that is my experience in my life. My name's Lee Perreira. You can go to www.leeperreira.com. That's LeePerreira, as they say, I before E except after Lee.
I like that.
And from my website, you can find out. There's a direct link to my nonprofit. You can find out about all the stuff I've done. We've almost raised 6 figures for Arizona nonprofits. I play all around the valley. My schedule's there. I do original music on Spotify, iTunes. Maybe one day I'll never do stand-up. I'm not funny.
You're going to do it. We're going to get him out. He's going to do it.
I appreciate you, Juan.
Yeah, thank you, man. And available for private parties.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm all over. So next month I'll be in Massachusetts for a wedding. October I'll be in Vegas for a full band corporate event.
Badass, man.
Yeah, just doing it, and just trying to make the car payment.
On that Lincoln, man.
Yeah.
You see that? It brings it all the way back.
Bro.
Coming to you from the
I ain't driving no Black Label. I ain't driving no Navigator, bro. I got a good deal on a used car, and I got a good warranty. So
beast.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all that matters.
Thank you, Lincoln, for letting us hang out.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Scottsdale Quarter, Sanderson Lincoln,
Yes, sir.
and Lee Perreira. Guys, follow him like, subscribe, do all the things, do the cold plunge, get some sound healing from his lady. Lots of beneficial things in this podcast, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
I got nothing but love for you.
Yeah, man. All love.
If you doubting, then you bound to be believing. So take a breath. I'm in your city. Just by the way that I'm buzzing, you could tell that I've been busy grinding harder than a Chevy.